Lumos. All right, welcome back. Part 2 of Season 3, Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry Potter, Reboot, HBO Max, all of that fun stuff. We're going to jump right into it, and I will let you know, if what you're here for is my talking about the cast, it's at the end. So if you want to, skip ahead, but I will talk a little bit about it in some of the scenes throughout the episodes. So make sure to watch the whole thing. If you haven't watched the first part 1, it'll be in a playlist with Season 1, Season 2, and Part 1 and Part 2. So you can watch it all together. Just listen to it. Do what you need to do. All right, without further ado, let's get to Episode 6. Things seem to be going so good for Harry right now. Let's go to Hogsmeade. It's a Hogsmeade weekend. Let's go. Harry decides it's time to go to Hogsmeade in Episode 6, the Quidditch Finals. Harry decides, you know what? I'm going to go to Hogsmeade again. I didn't get to see much. Literally saw honeydukes and 3 broomsticks, and then was just emotionally scarred. But this time I'm going to go prepared. I'm going to bring my invisibility cloak this time, and I will hide under it and hang out with Ron. Because remember, Ron and Hermione are still fighting, and Hermione overhears them planning this and goes, if you go, I will tell on you. It's dangerous. Sirius Black has already come into the castle. He'll be able to get you if he knows you're in Hogsmeade. You're not supposed to go. It's for your own safety that you don't go. And Harry and Ron shrugged her off. So now Harry and Hermione are fighting once again. We get to Hogsmeade. Harry is just in awe of everything there. It's a full wizarding village. Like, the only other full wizarding thing that Harry has seen is Diagon Alley. So it's really cool to be able to see something that's not Diagon Alley, but even have new shops to explore. And we all know, as Hogwarts Legacy players, Hogsmeade's a pretty cool place. I would have loved to explore Diagon Alley. Hopefully in Hogwarts Legacy 2, we get to go to Diagon Alley. But Hogsmeade, really neat place. So we're exploring Hogsmeade. We get to go to the Shrieking Shack, the most haunted house in Britain, with violent ghosts who can't touch anything and just make it cold when they walk through you, and can make torches flicker and water ripple, but people are still afraid of ghosts. I never understood that, the ghost thing. Like, oh, it's haunted, it's full of ghosts, but ghosts can't do anything. You've literally been in a room full of ghosts in your second year, and they weren't scary. Like, even the most gruesome ghost, Nearly Headless Nick, is not really that scary. So why are wizards afraid of ghosts? Whatever. Malfoy shows up. They have a mudslinging contest. Malfoy sees Harry. Malfoy knows Harry's not supposed to go to Hogsmeade and runs. Just turns around and books it. And Harry goes, oh, shit. I need to go. So Harry turns around and books it. At the beginning of this episode, when Harry's getting ready to go, we do see that Snape seems to be suspicious of that area, because we don't know why Snape seems to know where all the secret passages are, but doesn't really say that he knows that it's a secret passage, but seems to be curious about it. He doesn't know that there's a password to it. He knows that there is something sketchy when it comes to that statue, but we're not really sure why. So Harry comes back to it. Snape somehow has already reached that area and finds Harry in front of the statue once again and confronts him. Says, empty your pockets, Potter. And Harry pulls out everything in his pockets. He has the Marauders map, which is just a blank piece of parchment. So it's not as though it's like, oh, look, I have a map of the school that shows me where everything is. No, it's just a blank piece of paper. And then Snape goes, reveal your dark secrets. And then it goes, you're a greasy-haired git. Then he calls Lupin and says weird words that, when you watch it for the first time or read it for the first time, you're not going to understand what he's saying. But then you realize after the fact that, oh, he knew what this was. He just doesn't know how to access it. But he knew it was Lupin's. And Lupin goes, I'll take it. And then once Snape leaves, he looks at Harry and goes, how did you get this map? Yes, I know it's a map, but I also know that Filch had it. You know how dangerous this is? If Sirius Black had gotten his hands on it, if an enemy were to get his hands on it, you would be in trouble. Let me say that one more time for those in the back. If an enemy were to get a hold of it, that would be really bad. That's a foreshadowing event for the next movie or next season, next book, whatever. That's why that is important. Because what does Harry do? He gives it to the enemy. Anyway, Lupin takes the map. Says, no more map for you. I'm your professor. This is for your best interest. I will take this. Then the middle of this episode, we have the Hogsmeade thing. We get the middle of the episode. Harry's kind of like, yeah, it was a bad idea. Thank you for not turning me in, Hermione. But Hermione seems to be going through some tough times. You know, Ron also kind of forgives Hermione. It's like, yeah, he was old. He was probably going to die anyway. It was probably a quick, painless death. Just one crunch into the skull. Then they run across Malfoy, who's like, ha ha ha, my father. And Hermione punches him in the face. That's what you get. Then Hermione disappears. Doesn't show up for charms. And they're like, where the hell did Hermione go? Harry finds her in the common room, asleep on a table, and goes, hey, you missed charms. And she goes, ah, shit. It was cheering charms. And I know they were going to be on the final. I'm going to fail. I ruined everything. And he goes, yeah, well, wake up. We got to go to divination. She goes, okay. And then in the middle of divination just goes, this shit, I'm out. And leaves. And they're like, what is going on with Hermione? She's missing classes. She's punching Malfoy. And now she's just straight up walking out of class and insulting the professor? All right. And then the Quidditch finals. Throughout this, we're starting to see more Slytherins in the background, like watching Harry. And anytime more than one of the Quidditch team members is in the screen, you see more Slytherin people. Like, it's like, huh, why are there so many Slytherins in the background? Well, as it gets closer to the match, then you start to see them using tripping jinxes and things like that, and just running off afterward. Because it is the Gryffindor versus Slytherin Quidditch finals. Winner takes all. But not just winner. If Slytherin wins, they win. If Gryffindor wins and doesn't get enough points, Slytherin wins. Gryffindor has to get a specific amount of points before Harry catches the snitch to make sure that they have won the point spread and then win the Quidditch Cup. That's how they beat ties. Because right now, Slytherin has 2 wins, Gryffindor has 1. If Gryffindor gets 2 wins, or beats Slytherin, it's 2 versus 2. So they have to get more points in total compared to what Slytherin has gotten to be able to beat Slytherin. Because if, in case of a tie for the Quidditch Cup, whoever has scored the most amount of points in the season wins the Quidditch Cup. That is why they have to score more points. It's not really explained. It's just, you just think, okay, they say they got to score like 100 points before Harry catches the snitch. Whatever. Makes sense. It's the tiebreaker. Because if you win 3 matches, you automatically win. So if Slytherin beats Gryffindor, that is 3 matches that they have won. Because they beat Hufflepuff, they beat Ravenclaw, and then if they beat Gryffindor, they win 3 matches. Cool. But if Gryffindor wins, they have only won 2. Gryffindor has only won 2. Hufflepuff won 1, Ravenclaw won 1. So they're out already. So then it's up to how many points were earned throughout the season. Since Gryffindor did not catch the snitch in the first game, now they are behind on points. Because, of course, the snitch, 150 points. That's a big point lead. So Harry not only has to catch the snitch, 150 points, because right now Slytherin is already 2 snitch catches ahead of Gryffindor. Because Gryffindor has only caught the snitch once. So they're 150 points ahead already. So now they also have to get 100 points on top of that because they lost by 100 points to Hufflepuff. All makes sense? Cool. So this is an intense game. It is just cheating, a lot of penalty shots, and Malfoy is just trying his hardest to keep Harry from catching the snitch. Then we have a moment where Malfoy seems to be about to catch the snitch, and Harry comes in and swoops in, grabs the snitch, wins, and the game is over, and the Quidditch Cup goes to Gryffindor. And we all celebrate. We're all celebrating. Gryffindor is in the common room having a big party. Fred and George show up and they have all this stuff from Honeydukes. Fred and George, are you paying for that stuff or are you just stealing it? I don't really care. Whatever. But still, we're partying. McGonagall comes in and goes, guys, go to bed. It's late. I can hear you down the hall. Percy, you should be able to control them. You are head boy. Do not disappoint me. They all go to bed. But the episode's not over. If anything, this would be the perfect time to do one of those, like, all right, go to bed, and then the credits kind of roll. And then we hear a rustling, and then the credits come, like, cut, and it's someone sneaking into the Gryffindor common room, cutting open the curtain, and then the camera pans down, and it's Ron? And then Ron opens his eyes and goes, ah! And that's when we cut to black. Why was Sirius Black attacking Ron? We'll have to talk about that in the next episode. The curtain is ripped back, and we are revealed to see Ron? Ron screams, the camera turns around, and we see Sirius Black, and that is the start of episode 7. Ron screams, everybody comes running, they're all in the common room at this point. Percy's going, why are you screaming? You had a bad dream. Sirius Black was not in this common room. And here comes McGonagall going, I just told you to stop making so much noise and go to bed. Percy, you are head boy. It wasn't me, Professor. Ron was having a bad dream. Ron goes, shut up, Percy. It was Sirius Black. He tried to murder me. Minerva doesn't shrug it off. She knows it's not a bad dream. She goes, oh, this is not good. All right, stay here. I'm going to go get Dumbledore. First, let me figure out what the hell is going on. She goes out. Sir Cadogan, by the way, is the portrait hole because the fat lady got attacked at Halloween, and Sir Cadogan has been there the whole year. She goes out and goes, did you let Sirius Black in? And he goes, oh, yes, I did. He had all the passwords. All of them. And she goes, excuse me, what? And he goes, yeah, he had a list of them. She comes back inside. Who had a list of all the passwords written down and then lost it? Here comes Neville. I did. You're dead. Straight to jail. I'm writing your grandmother, who then sends him a howler later in the episode, just for a little bit of comic relief, because this is a very intense episode. We haven't even gotten started. This is just the first 5 minutes. So, it's finals week now. Hermione is just a mess. By the way, Buckbeak has been sentenced to death. There's an appeal on the last day of finals. So that's going to happen. Hopefully we can get that appealed. Ron is now helping because he feels bad because, you know, Hermione's been doing all the work. Hermione and Ron have kind of made up at this point. We made up in the last episode and now they're kind of friends. There's still a lot of tension. We're not really sure why. So it's all good though. So we do finals. The main final that we do see is divination. Harry goes to the divination final and it's on the last day. They do the divination final and then they go down and try to help Hagrid with Buckbeak's appeal. At the end of Harry's divination final, Trelawney goes all weird. Like, Trelawney already seems like a fraudster, and then all of a sudden she goes, oh, the servant will return. I'm not going to do the whole prophecy. We don't need to. You want the whole prophecy? There's a book about it. We see that prophecy. We do also get to see the Defense Against the Dark Arts final because it's like an obstacle course. It's like Wipeout, but with Fantastic Beasts. So I would like to see it. So it's going to be in there for me. Harry sees this weird prophecy. But of course, one of the things that Trelawney says is do not tell other people about the final. Harry goes, whatever. Hey, Ron, did she do a weird thing at the end? No? All right. Okay. I don't know what to think about that then. Anyway, they go down to the appeal. Guess who they find? Scabbers. He's been hiding in Hagrid's cabin. He's not dead. I'm sorry, Hermione. We thought it was you. But we found it. We need to go because now Dumbledore, Cornelius Fudge. Who else is there? Oh. Dumbledore, Cornelius Fudge, some old dude, and McNair all there to do the appeal for Buckbeak. But McNair is there, the executioner, which basically means Buckbeak is going to die. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are not wanted there by Hagrid, but they want to be there. Hermione sneaks off and gets the invisibility cloak that is hiding in the passageway that Harry had ditched at the beginning of the last episode. So they can sneak down there. That's where they find Scabbers, and then they have to escape quickly. While Dumbledore seems to be distracting everybody as they get away, it's really weird that he seems to know that they're there and is allowing them to escape. I'm not really sure. It's weird. But it happens in the books, it happens in the movie. Dumbledore seems to know something's going on. So, they escape. They get up to the castle. They hear the thud of the axe. Buckbeak is dead. But then Scabbers tries to get away. And as he tries to get away, Ron runs towards where Scabbers is running, catches him in the shade of the Whomping Willow. But before they realize where he is, a giant black dog comes in, grabs him, and takes him under the Whomping Willow. All right, that was weird. Then Crookshank shows up and stops the Whomping Willow, and Harry and Ron follow. Okay, also weird, but okay. So, we go down this tunnel, we get in there, we find out that the giant black dog that Harry has been seeing all season is none other than mass murderer Sirius Black. We know. But, was it him? Was he the one who was guilty? That's what we're here to find out. All of a sudden, Lupin comes in. Lupin's here to save the day. He's here to save us. And then he realizes what's going on. Hugs Sirius Black, and Hermione goes, I knew it. I should have known the whole time. And Lupin goes, what do you know? And she goes, you're a werewolf. I figured it out. And he goes, how did you figure that out? And she goes, your boggart was the moon. You're sick. Every full moon. And also Snape gave us an essay on werewolves to try to oust you. And Lupin goes, you are the cleverest witch of your time, aren't you? But you don't have it all correct. I don't even know half of it. But before Lupin can get out what is happening, Snape comes in and blunders it all. But Harry, realizing that there is a piece of information that is being left out, needs to understand what is going on, because this crazy man out of Azkaban is pointing at Ron's rat and saying, that is the person who betrayed your family. I am innocent. Lupin is now saying, yeah, that's the true story. And then Snape's going, I hate everybody here. Come on, let's get out of here. I'm going to expel the three of you. You two are going to get kissed by Dementors, and I am going to be a hero. When all three of the trio stun Snape and go, you need to tell me what we are missing in this story before we do anything. And Lupin turns and says, it's a long story. Let's get started. And that is where the episode ends. The start of Lupin telling the story of what is happening. We are now getting into episode 8 of season 3 of the Harry Potter HBO Max reboot. If you're still watching this, I appreciate you. Make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment on what things I left out, whatever. Just if you've gotten this far, you're getting to the end. So I appreciate you. Let's get more into episode 8. Episode 8 is all a flashback. It's not even going to have Harry, Ron, and Hermione in this episode. It is going to start with a boy who looks like Harry. We're going to start from the back. We're going to see a scene that we will see later from a different point of view, but this is from James's point of view right now. And it's him first meeting Sirius Black. And we don't realize it at first. We just are following the back of the head that looks like Harry. It could be played by the actor who plays Harry, and we just change the eye color. I'm okay with that. If James is just played by the actor who plays Harry, I think it'll work. But this scene is going to also be remade in the later seasons. But this is from James's point of view. This is when he first meets Sirius on the train. And they hit it off immediately. We have a little bit of that scene with Snape in there where it's like, I think if I was put into Slytherin, I would leave. Then he finds out that Sirius's family was in Slytherin. He goes, and here I thought you were a good one. And he goes, I don't want to be in Slytherin. So then we get the sorting ceremony, them becoming Gryffindor, and then meeting Peter Pettigrew and Remus Lupin. Them figuring out that Lupin is a werewolf. Them turning into Animagus. Then we get a flash forward to the scene that we've already seen, but from a different perspective. This is Dumbledore looking at James going, I can be your secret keeper. And James going, no, Sirius will be my secret keeper. Then we see more of that scene. Dumbledore leaves going, all right, by all means, let him be your secret keeper. Then Sirius looking at James after Dumbledore has left going, I'm going to be expected to be the secret keeper. Make Peter the secret keeper. Nobody will expect him. Nobody will go after him. You will be safe. That's the key detail. Then we cut to after the Potter's death, when Sirius confronts Peter Pettigrew. And then we see that from Peter's point of view. Him turning into a rat and escaping. And blowing up the street in the process. So, the end of the episode is going to be that scene. Just the whole episode is this flashback of the Marauders. We get to see the Marauders, a whole episode of it. Which could just turn into a spinoff of a TV show. But, you know, that is a whole nother discussion. This video is already getting too long. So, like I said at the beginning, if you like it, make sure to subscribe, turn on the bell so you will be notified when I talk about like what spin-off shows we can do. So that is the whole episode. It's just the Marauders through the years, becoming Animagus, exploring the castle, running around as beasts, and also just terrorizing Snape because Snape is a bully in himself. Like, we will see the bad side of Snape from the point of view of the Marauders, him bullying other people and James and the Marauders not bullying them. This is a very paramount scene for the series, especially with the casting of Snape that they have done, because I know a lot of people are like, well, this is going to look bad that James is bullying the black kid. We need to make Snape look like a bully who is mean and ruthless, to give a reason for James to unabashedly attack Severus. Because if, yes, I do understand, if James is attacking Severus Snape just because we see that one scene where James attacks Snape and basically is because he exists. Yeah, that looks really bad. I get it. But I assume the directors and producers on this show will understand the fine line that they have to walk. We need to make Snape look like a bad guy. So when the twist comes where he kills Dumbledore, spoilers, if you're watching this, you already know, but when Snape kills Dumbledore, we need to be like, well, duh, we've known that the entire time. So then at the end of the series, when we see his memories, which will probably be its own episode as well, and we realize all the things that he did were a complex game of chess where he was actually a good guy, it will pay off better. But we need to show that Snape is not innocent, that he is a bully that gets bullied. And he's not a bully because he gets bullied. He is a bully because that's just the crowd of people he hangs out with. He hangs out with the Death Eaters, so he himself is basically a Death Eater. And that's what James doesn't like, because Remus does explain that in the 5th book. It's, he didn't like Snape because he didn't like people who used dark magic. Snape was known to use dark magic. So, that is why we need to tread carefully in this when it comes to Snape being bullied, but Snape is not an innocent character in this story. In most cases, he probably deserved to be bullied because he was himself a bully. But, by and by, the episode will just focus on the Marauders. And then maybe the end will just cut back to Lupin going, and that is the story of where we are now. So, we just found out all of the information in episode 8. It's time for episode 9. Harry has now figured out that Sirius Black is not the bad guy. The rat that Ron is holding in his hand is the bad guy. Everything, all the pieces make sense. They fit together. Sirius has been following him. He's the spectral black dog that he's been seeing. He's not a Grim. All right. The rat started getting sick as soon as he saw that Sirius Black had escaped from Azkaban. Sirius Black saw the rat on Ron's shoulder from the picture in the Daily Prophet, and that is why he got the Daily Prophet from Cornelius Fudge. It all goes together. The only piece of the puzzle that has not been filled in is why the hell has Hermione been acting so weird? We'll find that out today, too. So, the truth unmasked. We get the penultimate episode. All of the questions have been answered. Now, we just have to prove it. So, with Sirius and Remus together, they are able to reveal Scabbers is Peter Pettigrew for sure, with his ratty little face. And then, as they go to kill him, Harry stands in between them and says, no, this is not how it's going to be done. You kill him, there is no proof. Granted, there would be a dead body and people would question that, but Harry is clearly not a Ravenclaw. Harry says, you kill him, you are just as bad as they think you are. Let's take him up to the castle and give him to the Dementors. Show the proof. Have him be able to explain, this is what I did as a little rat. So let's take him to the castle. We'll also take Severus, We'll tie him up and bang his head against the thing a couple times. But we get through. We have this long walk of peace. Seems everything has worked out. Sirius is going to be freed. Peter Pettigrew has been captured. Harry, you know I'm your godfather. Which means if I'm free, you can come and live with me. Harry goes, hell and yeah, let's go. But you know how it is in Harry Potter. The moment you think you've won, all is lost. They get out of the tunnel. It's nighttime now. Oh, look, the moon. It's up. And I know in the movies, it makes it seem like, oh, the clouds are covering the moon. Oh, the moon is out and he is turning. No, I think it's just the moonrise happens. The moon is coming up above the horizon, and that is when Lupin turns. Well, that's not good. Lupin turns into a werewolf. Sirius turns into a dog. Wands are dropped. Peter Pettigrew takes a wand, turns himself back into Scabbers, and skitters out into the woods. He escapes. The one proof that you needed to prove that Sirius was innocent is now gone. What are we to do? Well, Lupin is distracted, runs off into the woods with Sirius Black, and then all of a sudden Sirius turns back into Sirius Black and starts screaming. Harry goes after him. The Dementors have found him. He's there. The Dementors are there. They are surrounding him. Harry goes, "Expecto Patronum! I'm going to live with my godfather. Expecto Patronum." His feeble attempts are able to save Sirius for the moment. But the swarm of Dementors is too much for Harry's feeble Patronus to be able to fend so many off. And eventually he succumbs to their effects. Both of them seem to be fading. The Dementors are lowering their hoods to show their gruesome faces. We heard about this early on when Harry was talking to Lupin about it. Now we get to see it. Then we see a very bright light as a giant silver figure comes galloping over, scares off all of the Dementors, and right before Harry fully passes out, he sees it go back over to a figure that looks like him. But it's not him. He's here. "Dad?" he says as he fades to black. He then wakes up in the hospital wing to yelling about something. He doesn't know what's going on. It's just a muffled... Eventually he realizes it's Cornelius Fudge, the minister. "Ah, Cornelius, you can save him. Sirius is innocent. Scabbers is the villain." And Severus Snape standing there goes, "See, I told you, minister. They've been confounded. They don't know what's going on. They think Sirius is innocent, that a dead man was a rat the whole time. I don't know what they're talking about, minister." And then Dumbledore comes in and goes, "They're telling the truth, minister. I just talked to Sirius Black." "Oh, you're believing the poppycock that he says. This is all nonsense. Sirius is dangerous. He's going to be kissed within the hour. I just got to go talk to the Dementors." Cornelius Fudge and Snape leave. As they walk away and talk something about Order of Merlin, whatever, Dumbledore looks at Harry, looks at Hermione. Ron is passed out because of his leg injury. It's easier to grow bones when you're sleeping. Looks at Hermione and Harry and goes, "If you do this right, you can save more than one life." 3 turns should do it, Miss Granger. I'm going to lock this door. Be back before the final chime. This is where the final question is answered. Hermione and time travel. So then Hermione takes out the time turner, does 3 turns, and time starts to move backwards. Harry's looking all around, trying to figure out what's going on, and then time stops. And Harry goes, "What was that?" And she goes, "We just went back 3 hours. We have a lot to do. Let's go." Cut to black. That is the end of episode 9. We are about to go into episode 10. So we are now back 3 hours earlier in episode 10. We went back in time at the end of episode 9, and now we are here. Why are we here? Dumbledore just told us we could save more than one life if we work hard enough. But what is the other life that we can save? We know the first life is going to be Sirius. We know where he is. We got to get him, but that's in 3 hours. Why did we have to go back so far? Where were we 3 hours ago? Well, 3 hours ago, we were down at Hagrid's with Buckbeak, who got his head chopped off. We can save Buckbeak, which will allow us to get up to the top of the castle to be able to save Sirius. That is what Dumbledore wanted us to do. That is why Dumbledore was being really sketchy earlier. Did he know? How did he know? That's for another time. But we need to go down and save Buckbeak after we leave, because when we leave Hagrid's, we see Buckbeak. But before McNair comes out and chops off his head. Time in Harry Potter works weird. It is a predestined time, a time loop. Everything that happens has always happened for eternity. Harry and Hermione always went back in time. They always saved Buckbeak. But They did not know that. Dumbledore, 3 hours later, did know that Buckbeak never died. He is smart enough. He knows what happens. Maybe he also has a time turner and communicates with his previous self by leaving notes saying, hey, I need you to distract them so these kids can steal Buckbeak. So Hagrid can be safe. I can be safe. Buckbeak will survive because Buckbeak is innocent. So we save Buckbeak. We have to hide, though. Harry has to come to terms with the fact that he cannot change time per se, because that is not how a time turner works. Because he never ran out to stop Pettigrew. He cannot do that again. That is why he's not able to save Pettigrew. Hermione explains these are the rules that you have to follow. You cannot see yourself. It causes issues. You could die. But while they're sitting there waiting for them to come back out from the tree, he looks at Hermione and says, I saw my dad. He was the one who saved us from the Dementors. I saw him. I know it was my dad. And she goes, you couldn't. He's dead. That couldn't have been your dad. It could have been someone else. And he goes, no, I know. It looked like my dad. They finally come out. We see the struggle from a different point of view of everything happening. Then we see what happens with Harry going down to save Sirius. And this whole time, Harry's thinking, oh, I want to see my dad. I want to see him again. I want to ask him, how did he survive? Why hasn't he said anything to me? He's at the perfect angle. He knows his dad's going to come out and stand right in front of where he is. There's any minute. And then he realizes nobody's coming. He has to go and save himself and Sirius. He's the one who cast the Patronus. And because he knows he's the one who cast the Patronus, he knows he can cast the Patronus. And at that point, he cast a perfect corporeal Patronus at the age of 13, things that fully grown adults can't even do. And saves himself and saves Sirius and goes back into hiding to make sure that the rest of the timeline is unbroken. Severus Snape comes out, takes Sirius, takes Harry, and they go up to the castle. Now they just have to wait a little bit for Sirius Black to get up to the Charms Corridor Tower. And they know that is the time that they can take Buckbeak, fly up to the Charms Tower, and collect Sirius Black. But unfortunately now, Sirius Black is no longer an innocent man because Pettigrew got away. There's one thing they couldn't stop. Pettigrew got away. So, Sirius flies off on Buckbeak. Ron and Harry have to get back to the hospital wing before the final clock bell chimes. They get there. They get in. Dumbledore locks them in. And then immediately has to unlock it and be like, yeah, they've been here the whole time. I just locked this door. Look, Cornelius, Snape. They are not responsible for Sirius Black escaping. And Cornelius is so frustrated at this point because not only did Sirius Black get away, but the Hippogriff blew away as well. He's just 2 losses today. And Snape is also pissed, because he also lost his Order of Merlin that he was promised for catching Sirius, because unfortunately Sirius got away, and it seems to be Snape's fault for some reason. Anyway, we now know that Sirius Black is safe. Buckbeak is safe. Hagrid is overjoyed that Buckbeak didn't die. He doesn't know what happened to Buckbeak, but all he does know is that Lupin did not eat him. And that is when Harry realizes that everybody knows Lupin's secret. He's a werewolf. And that Lupin is leaving. So Harry rushes to Lupin's office and says, sir, you can't leave. You're the best teacher I've ever had. And he goes, well, Snape outed me today. Told all the Slytherins, and of course it's now all over the school. I'm going to leave before I start getting the angry letters telling me that I'm a horrible person for no reason. You can have this map back. I'm no longer your teacher, so I don't care if you have a map that can gain access. Just don't give it to your enemies. And then Dumbledore comes in to let Lupin know, your carriage is here. You can be on your way. Is there anything I can do to get you to stay? And Lupin says no. And then leaves. Dumbledore stays and says, let's talk, Harry. You did some great things. And Harry goes, but I didn't. Pettigrew got away. He goes, you can't change time. It just, things have to happen. And then he goes, speaking of things having to happen, Trelawney predicted this. And he goes, excuse me, what? Yeah, there was a prophecy. He said something about 12 years a slave and now free to bring back the Dark Lord. And Dumbledore goes, 2 for 0, that woman. 2 for 0. All right. Have to keep an eye on her, Harry. But nothing to worry about. Nothing at all. Don't worry. Don't worry your little head. It'll be fine. He's like, yeah, but it said Voldemort will come back. And he goes, pshaw. It'll be fine. But Dumbledore's always lying. And then he goes, I thought I saw my dad. And Dumbledore goes, oh, really? He goes, yeah, but it turned out to be me. And he goes, well, your dad was there tonight, but not in the way that you think. Your Patronus. Thought it was a peculiar Patronus when you casted it at young Malfoy during the Quidditch game. Did you notice what it was? And he goes, yeah. It was a stag. He goes, funny thing about that stag. Your dad, do you know what his animagus form was? There he goes, prongs. My dad was a stag. And he goes, very good, Mr. Potter. Your dad is a stag as your Patronus. So, in a way, your dad was there last night. And then he just walks off. The mysterious old man. And the end of the semester is over. They are headed home to the drab Muggle world. But one last letter comes in from a feisty little owl. Little tiny fluffy bird, little pom-pom of a bird, flies in, trying to keep up with the train. They open it, they take it in. It's a letter from Sirius. He's safe. He got away. Him and Buckbeak are going south to escape the Dementors. Also, by the way, Ron, you can keep this owl. I'm sorry for your loss of pet that you already thought was dead, then turned out to be alive, then turned out to be a 33-year-old man who's been sharing a bed and eating your bed sheets. And Ron takes the owl in his hand, holds it up to Crookshanks, and go, this one's not a weird man, too, right? And Crookshanks purrs and settles back down, and he goes, cool, I'll keep it. And then we get to King's Cross Station, where he meets up with the Dursleys, holding a permission slip to Hogsmeade from Sirius Black. And Vernon goes, what is that? And he goes, it's a permission slip and a letter from my godfather. And he goes, you don't have a godfather. And he goes, you know that man Sirius Black that was in the news? That's my godfather. And he likes to know that I'm safe, so I want all my stuff or I will let him know. And he goes, all right, you get what you want. I don't want to die. And that is the end of season 3 of the Harry Potter HBO Max reboot, Prisoner of Azkaban. So now that we're done with the whole season, let's talk about casting for season 3 and just the Harry Potter series in general. We have 6 announced cast. We have Dumbledore, McGonagall, Severus Snape, Hagrid, Quirrell, and Filch. All of these actors, I think, are going to be good. A lot of people are like, well, they said it was going to be book accurate. Why did they cast a black Snape? Well, 5 out of the 6 of them are book accurate looking characters. They're the right age. I mean, all 6 of them seem to be the right age of the character and look like they will probably fit very well. Yes, Papa Isidu is black. I don't care. I've seen some of the stuff that he is in. He is a fantastic actor, and I think that is why they cast him, because he is a good actor. He's going to be able to portray Snape in a way that is going to make us question his goodness, question how bad he is. I think he's going to do a great job. I think they wouldn't have cast him and cast such controversy if he wasn't going to portray it well. I think we need to reserve our judgment on, oh, the series is going to be horrible until it comes out. Instead of screaming DEI hire, I think we need to wait and see what he does. Because he could probably pull off one of the best Snape performances compared to Alan Rickman. I think Alan Rickman did a great job. I think that is why so many people are fascinated with Snape as a character. As a book reader, mostly, occasionally watching the movies, I don't like Snape. I do like Alan Rickman's portrayal of Snape. I think Alan Rickman does a great job and brings a lot of complexity to the character. I think that's why they also hired Papa Asidu, because he is going to be a complex actor. And I think he's going to bring a new dimension to that character, which is important. We need to separate ourselves from the movies. I think that's the problem. People are looking at the movies, and this is what's going to happen for every casting decision. Well, this is what they look like. This is what it is in my head. Yes, that is for the movies. This is not detracting from the movies itself. It's an addition. You don't have to watch this series. Go watch the movies. Go read the books. This is not detracting from the series. I'm going to watch this series. I understand the controversy behind the artist who created the series as a whole, and that's unfortunate. The things that she has said are absolutely atrocious, and I don't understand how this is the same person who originally wrote this series. Because there are points in her own writings, like her notes that she writes, where she talks about characters who act like the way she does now, that she says, these are the reason these characters are the worst. This is the reason these characters have these traits, because they're not good. There is something seriously wrong with the author, and it's unfortunate. But luckily, one thing you can do is support creators who do make content about this universe. Buy used books. Buy the used movies. You don't support the author at that point, but you can support small businesses and creators who, if you like this content, that's the way you do it. I know it's harder to find content like that, but me making Harry Potter content is for me and people who also enjoy Harry Potter content. Warner Brothers and other subsidiaries of Harry Potter are not making any money off of my content. I'm not making any money off of my content yet. So support creators who make the content. Do not chastise them. This is a place of understanding and a very welcoming, safe space. So if you want to leave comments on your opinions, that's fine. Be nice. But I think that's it for the video. If you want to leave your comments on casting, on things that I may have missed, details, there's a lot of details. It's getting harder. The longer the books get, the more details I have to cover, and I will forget stuff. I'm doing it mostly off of memory. I got notes, but a lot of it is coming out of my head. So let me know in the comments anything that you want to see in Season 3, Prisoner of Azkaban HBO series. And remember, be nice, stay marvelous, Knox.